and welcome back to EDH Deck Building. I am your host, Demo, and another video that is sort of off the cuff, sort of a rant. I don't know what I'm going to call it again, but a lot of these videos I do because I read the comments and the things that people say are baffling to me. And I almost feel like we're speaking a different language, like the people in the comments don't know what format they're playing and I'm trying to explain it to them. Like someone said about my Nevinyrral deck that I made recently, oh, this deck's gonna fail because it costs 6 mana for your commander, plus you need 1 mana up for his ability, and then another mana for supernatural stamina, that's 8 mana. And I'm thinking, okay, and? Like, so what? And he's like, oh, you don't have enough ramp, and you gotta do this and that. No, or I could just wait till turn 8 and then do it. Like, what format do you think you're playing? That's my question here to all these people who keep making these comments. What format do you think you're playing? This is Commander. It is an inherently casual format. I mean, how would you play an OG Chromium deck? How would you play that? He costs 8 mana. It's an Esper commander that just costs 8 mana and really isn't very good once he comes out. How would you play that? Oh, that's right, you wouldn't, would you? Because you only play the best commanders and you only play the best cards. Like, people, I guess, maybe haven't been watching my channel, or they're just so used to watching other content that they just don't get it. Again, it's like we're speaking a different language, right? I had a guy comment on my Colorless Tutors video and he said, oh, I would never play, whatever card he was referring to. 5 mana for a card that doesn't impact the board right away. I would never play that. Like, what? Impact the board right away? This isn't Modern. What are you talking about? This is the format of Chair Tribal and Ladies Looking Left. What format do you think you're playing? You need to play a 5 mana card that impacts the board right away? I had about 50 other comments on that video where people are like, oh wow, great, now I have a card that I can tutor for enchantments in my mono red deck. That's what it's for, okay? Buddy, whoever commented that, that's what it's for. Okay, it's for a guy who wants to tutor for a certain card in a certain color. That's why I make those colorless videos. This is an option for you. If you're stuck in a color that doesn't tutor very well, here's an option. I guess if you just want to play the best of everything, then that list's probably not for you. In fact, my channel is probably not for you, okay? I'm really not trying to appeal to that crowd. However, I do want to win games. A lot of people commented on my Underwhelming Commanders video about, oh, it's great that somebody just wants to make casual janky decks and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, okay, yeah, my decks are casual. I like to use Underwhelming Commanders, but I still like to win. I just did a video for my patrons where I talked about my deck building philosophy of, yes, I want to keep it diverse and I want to be playing Underwhelming Commanders, but I still also want to win. That's why I say removal wins games. The guy plays Heuristic Study, really powerful card in the format, or a Smothering Tithe, removal, it's gone. That's it, problem solved, right? It sort of evens the playing field. So it allows people like me and like some of my viewers that want to play more casual decks and Underwhelming Commanders. I think that the issue here is that we have a lot of Modern players. I mean, I played Modern for a long while. These comments just really scream Modern to me, okay? Where everything is what I call it min-maxing, right? It's just super efficient. And the difference between a 1 mana spell and a 2 mana spell is all like a 1 mana spell, great, 2 mana spell, garbage, unplayable, right? That sort of mentality has really been seeping into the format, probably because Modern was the most popular format in Magic for a long time, and now it's Commander. So there's been a bit of a transition in the players and also a transition in the mentality. I had a few people on my video about top 5 black creature removal spells, and just it seemed like cost was so important to them. Like Tragic Slip was so great because it only cost 1, or Snuff Out was so, where's Snuff Out? It's free. How come it's not on here? And I'm thinking it doesn't hit black creatures. That, to me, I would rather pay 2 mana or 3 mana and hit the Atraxa or the Muldrotha on the table than have a spell that's free. Like, what format are you playing where you absolutely need to cast your spell for free? I mean, we're not talking CEDH here, are we? Yeah, Snuff Out's okay in CEDH, sure. People play it in CEDH. They also play Slaughter Pact in CEDH. I said the same thing about Pact of Negation in my Commander Deck Doctor video. I think that's just a straight up bad card in casual Commander, okay? In CEDH, it's great because you are either protecting your combo so that you can just win, and if someone tries to counter your combo, you just Pact the Negation. You're never going to pay the 5 because you're going to win the game anyway. or you're stopping someone from winning the game, right? But other than that, you're essentially paying 5 mana for a counterspell. That's awful, okay? But the situation where my opponent's about to win the game and I have to counter right now, that situation shouldn't be happening very much in a casual game. So a card like Pact the Negation isn't very good. A card like Slaughter Pact or Snuff Out, I don't think is very good. They don't hit black creatures, and there's a lot of black creatures in the game. I would much rather have a Poison the Cup in Foretell that I can kill any creature with and only pay 2 mana. I just think that people sometimes forget the format they're playing, or maybe it's your playgroup. I've had a couple people, even patrons, tell me that their playgroup is super competitive and everyone plays the best cards. It's like an arms race. That's how I refer to it, right? Like your buddy starts putting more counterspells in his deck, so you start putting more counterspells in your deck, and everyone just keeps ramping up the power level, right? It's like an arms race. I had one guy comment recently about one of my 10 cards videos, and he's like, Warping Worm, that's terrible. You have to pay 4 mana for a 1/1. And I even said in the video that Warping Worm's not a great creature. I think in a commander game, in a casual commander game, it's a fun card. It sits there, it just is phased out all the time, collecting counters, and then somebody board wipes, and then you decide, okay, now I'll pay the 4, and I've got like an 8/8, and I can swing with it because no one else has creatures. I think that's pretty good. I think it's really good in a Pure and Toothy deck. I had it in a Pure and Toothy deck, and I thought it was pretty darn good in that deck. It's just troubling to me, the comments I hear, and I think I'm starting to understand what's happening here. Doing a lot of deck doctors for my patrons, and I'm like, really? Do you need, Force of Will in your deck, or do you need Mana Crypt, or do you need Pact the Negation, or do you need, like, it seems like there's a lot of high-powered cards, and they're like, yeah, I kind of have to. My play group's super high-powered, and everyone at my LGS plays all these super high-powered cards, and I'm like, okay, I mean, can you have a discussion with them? Like, have a discussion with them. And I had another patron say, man, I'd love to play decks like this, but I just can't, because my play group is all super high powered and my LGS plays just all the best cards there is. Try to have a discussion with them maybe and be like, hey, out of the 6 games we're going to play today, can we have one game where we're all playing sort of like jank commanders or more janky decks or more casual decks, right? This is a casual format after all. And I realize that I am a little bit alone here. I'm sort of on an island unto myself because everyone is moving in that direction. A lot of the content creators are moving in that direction as well. They're moving in the direction of don't play these unplayable bad cards, only play the best cards there is. And so they're sort of pushing that narrative as well, which I don't love. And again, I don't know, maybe there's other people out there doing that. I can't watch every Commander content channel out there. But for me, I sometimes feel like I really am, a voice in the dark where I'm the only one who's actually sort of saying, hey, how about we stop doing that? How about we stop moving in that direction? Let's play some casual commanders, some casual decks. Let's maybe put less super powerful cards in our deck, and let's put less counter spells in our deck. I mean, even the removal thing, the only reason why I say put more removal in your deck is because of the people that are playing all the super powerful cards, and the only way you can compete with them is just to remove it, right? Again, that's how you even the playing field. I wouldn't even put as much removal in my deck if there wasn't so many people doing that. The removal thing for me was a gradual thing. I never used to be like that. I never used to put a ton of removal in my deck. I didn't put in hardly any in my deck because I didn't think it was fun. I didn't think it was fun to be board wiping all the time and to removing all the stuff my opponents play. It's really not that fun. But I was forced in that direction because everyone else's power level kept ramping higher and higher and higher. And that was really the only response. The response was either, again, I put a ton of counterspells in my deck, that's not fun either, or I just do what they're doing. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing now is if you can't beat them, join them. That's the mentality that is starting to be created in this format. People just don't want to lose all the time. So instead of I'm going to play my janky fun deck, I'm going to do what they're doing. I can't beat them, so I'm going to join them and play the way that they play. And eventually it gets to the point where everyone's doing that and the format is just not even the same format anymore. And that's why I build the decks the way I do. I did a little blurb to my patrons on my Patreon recently about this, right? I build a deck with a underwhelming commander that has maybe a not so powerful strategy, but I use removal to sort of balance the playing field, and I use value to sort of stay in the game. And it works. I do win a lot of games. I like to win too. I really, really do. But I still want to keep this format, I think, as it was intended. In fact, I want to keep this game as it was intended. You know, when people talk about Ghostly Prison and, oh, that card's not that good in Commander because people don't attack that much. Oh, look at all the strategies in Commander where people just aren't attacking at all. Oh, okay, so we should just stop attacking in Commander games? Let's do that. Like, is that a good thing? That huge chunk of your turn in the middle there, called the combat phase. Should we just get rid of that? Let's just get rid of that whole thing. We don't even need that. Won't even need the second main phase either, right? Because we're not attacking. So your turn just becomes main phase, end. That's it. That's how we should play the game, right? No need for that attacking thing. That's not important in the game, right? We're getting so far away from where the game began. I mean, forget about the format of Commander. The entire game has gotten so far away from where it began. And I don't love that. Nothing I can do about that, though. There's just nothing. I can't tell Wizards of the Coast to stop printing certain cards or whatever. They can do whatever they want, and people can play however they want. You know, people can do whatever they want. A lot of people get upset at me in comments for things that I say. I'm not the grand overlord of EDH, okay? You can do whatever you want. This is just my opinion. My opinion is I don't like the direction the format's going. I've said it a few times in a few different videos. This is a casual format. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, okay? I'm going to make videos with underwhelming commanders. I'm going to suggest cards that maybe are unplayable or terrible or whatever. You don't have to play it, okay? You don't like Warping Worm? Don't play it. Simple as that. Just remember the format that you're playing. Okay, that's it. That's my plea here is remember what format you're playing here. Okay, this is the format of Chair Tribal and Ladies Looking Left and Goat Tribal and, you know, my janky Stuffy Doll deck and stuff like that. Okay, that's what this format is supposed to be all about. I mean, people can do as they like. You want to go super competitive with it? Okay, great. This is why I say that I think CEDH and EDH should just be completely different formats so that we don't have to worry about overlapping these discussions. But I digress. Just try to remember the format you're playing, okay? A lot of people play this format because they can't just play a casual kitchen table Magic game in any other format anymore. And this is the last bastion. This is the only hope for people who just want to build fun, interesting decks and have a game of fun, interesting kitchen table Magic. So that is it for today, I guess. End rant. Just remember what format you're playing. Okay, that is all. Thanks for tuning in.